Welcome back to the She Thrives Influential Women podcast. I am your host, Lori Murphy, and I am an empowerment coach for women, public speaker, award-winning published co-author, as well as columnist for the Rochester Women Online magazine. And it is so great to have you all joining me today and my amazing guest, Karin Edgett. She is phenomenal. Karin Edgett is somebody who I have connected with it quite a few times over the last few months, and she has just got radiant energy, and I cannot wait to tell you about her and bring her on. But first, if you're new to this podcast, please do not forget to hit that subscribe button, download your favorite episodes, leave a review, and share it with other women in your life who you feel may find value in it. This podcast was created to bring inspiration, to bring, positive influence into women's lives, to help them along in their journeys through health and wellness, through personal growth and development. Wherever you are, there is an episode here for you, and women come on here all the time to share their stories about what they overcame in order for them to thrive. So let me tell you a little bit about Karin before I bring her on. Karin Edgett is a visionary creator. Her work is all focused on transformation of a consciousness level. She creates with paintings, photography, words, recipes, and recently co-hosted a podcast on multi-dimensional conversations. All the works transmit energy that uplifts and can be used as part raising the energy of a person or a room. Karin, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you for having me and thank you for all that you do. This is really, we can't get enough empowerment work out there as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I agree. I feel that especially in today's world, we need all of the, empowerment and support from other women as we can get, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that support kind of goes everywhere. If we support women, we're supporting everybody, I think. It's
Yeah,
really a fabulous way to look at the world.
I agree. I agree. And so, Karen, tell us a little bit about where you're from and how you got led into the work that you're doing today.
Well, let's see. I'm from Erie, Pennsylvania. I now live in Washington, D.C. I have always been interested in um, visual arts and words, and I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, but then I was like, oh, I was afraid I'd be poor, so I went into advertising and graphic design and marketing, and I really had a fabulous career in that field, and I just enjoyed so much the whole idea of helping people brand themselves and get their messages out there clearly and um, then in 2008, I decided to sell my agency and go out on my own as an artist and use the words and the graphics and the paintings and other expressions to kind of explore life more on a quantum level,
Hmm.
energetic level, a spiritual level. Um, so I said, I'm just going to start painting light. Whatever comes through, comes through. And I found out that the painting, was taking me places I had not um, expected it to take me. And it was so
Hmm.
freeing to not like be stuck painting like an apple, for instance,
Yeah.
And not to diss anybody who paints still lifes or anything, but I'm, I was trying to understand where we're headed in the future, not
Hmm.
so in energy, not so much what we already know
Right.
in the past. And so that just led me to even a greater spiritual pathway, which was also mirroring work I had done with food. I had become a nutritional cook, um, and learned a lot about the very forgotten practices of how to prepare food so that it was actually, deeply nourishing to our body
Hmm.
and taught classes for a while in that. But I really just wanted to understand food spiritually and energetically as well. So I kind of gave up any kind of dogmatic attachment to anything. Um, and the path has been really interesting and winding. So I kind of go seamlessly in my own life between, cooking in the kitchen to painting to also photography.
Yeah.
I um I somehow developed a very special relationship with flowers. The deeper spiritual connection I had to nature, the more flowers started talking to me and said, "Hey, you can see our magic that we're creating every time we bloom." And they taught me a lot about their
Mhm.
consciousness and how pure it was and how it takes synthesizes energy from the sun and the earth and creates
Hmm.
this new consciousness, and it's free of karma. So it's really interesting. So I've just been winding my
Yeah.
way through on kind of a spiritual path with my art and photography and food.
That's amazing. And I kind of want to dive in a little bit to that because you had said like you started to paint light and energy. And now I have experience with, as an artist, painting. I haven't painted in probably like 2 years at this point, but I always enjoyed painting landscapes because there's something about nature that I just have a strong spiritual connection with. But at the same token, what I love about nature is that even in all of its imperfections, it's still beautiful. And that spoke to me. But when I hear about painting light and energy, I'm intrigued by that. Like, how would you be able to create that on a canvas?
Well, a lot of people that are painting nature are painting light anyway, because when you
Mm.
really think about it, everything you see is just light being refracted back to you.
Hmm.
But I feel like once we get to be adults in particular, we start to take our knowledge for granted and we're not seeing what's not there. I mean,
Hmm.
science has kind of shown us if we say this is an orange, you see orange, the color orange, even if it's brown or even if it's blue.
Hmm.
Your mind will like start to make up these stories visually. And so when I was looking at a landscape, I was just like, you know, allowing myself to just like what is going on here, just paint and pick colors that seemed, and you have to almost get into like a zone,
Hmm.
and if your mind can't turn off from what it wants to know, you can have two paintings going at once, one that looks like the landscape and one that's just the light, and just fling, just play, the
Yeah,
more you play, the more your full perception starts to come back to you.
sure.
So you kind of let go of what you know to be true when
Hmm.
you start painting things that you are experimenting and understanding.
Right.
So I really gave myself permission to just like let go of the known.
Hmm.
And light, nature is so inspiring anyway. And I know that sometimes we want to paint nature and sometimes, I'm take a lot of photography of nature. Like this piece back here
I was going to ask you about that.
is just like a mystical picture. I think there's another one behind me. It's a
Yeah,
little
it's
less mystical, but
beautiful.
for me, they're mystical pictures of the consciousness and light and energy around these passion flowers,
Hmm.
not so much, just a pretty passion flower. So I'm trying to evoke that maybe with my paintings. When I'm shooting the flowers, it's funny because people always try to figure out what flower is that. So your mind is always trying to say, well, where does that fit in to
Hmm.
that we know?
Yeah,
But anyway, I just kind of, the more abstract it gets, sometimes the happier I get because I can feel it's just about the light, the color, the patterns that are all new. And that's one of the most beautiful things about nature is it always shows up different.
it does.
Even if it's very
Always.
familiar, it always shows up different. It always
Always.
takes something new and
Yeah. You see things differently, I think, every single time. Things you might not have seen the first time. Like we have a camp out in the mountains, and every time we go up, there's always a new aspect or something new that I see that I didn't notice like the weekend before or the year
right.
before. Or
Yeah.
how it comes after the change of seasons, how things grow in differently.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
It's always transforming. And I
Well,
think that that might be why we like. like I know that your work is centered around transformation. My work is centered around transformation, and I feel like there's a big connection to that.
Yeah, there is. And quite frankly, nature's work is focused around transformation. So when you're out there, in this case, I'm talking about flowers, but when you're out there with a flower, they're actually synthesizing,
Mm,
information from the earth, information from the sun, and information from the world around them to create a new information.
yeah.
And it's just being in nature is transformative because nature's always transforming. So you're, it's like I think even your work, you probably feel like so much more exalted when you come back from a week of camping, right?
Oh, yes.
And then you're like, I feel, you can definitely tell you can feel the new energy within yourself when you do that.
Hmm.
It's, for me, I live in a city, but if I don't get out once a month significantly to the water, or to the mountains or something, I start to like, ah.
Sure.
But yeah, it's
Absolutely.
nature is just really amazing. And what the flowers have said that makes it even more unique than, like, say, trees or animals is that they carry no karma. Like a
Mm,
tree carries the history of the previous year with them, or like a animal carries the history of, just like people do, of their forebears and the grid of other animals. And so but a flower, it just blooms fresh, and
hmm
it's only carrying like if it's carrying any karma, it's carrying brand new karma from the earth and the sun, because they're always
hmm
transforming, if you look at it from a metaphysical standpoint.
Sure.
So anyway, the flowers want you to know they're pretty magical and they can help you transform.
Absolutely. Now, is that what the botanical vision is all about? Can we talk a little bit about the botanical vision?
Yeah, that's my Oracle card deck. I don't know if you can see it there, Botanical Vision.
Okay.
And this is 62 cards, 62 photos of flowers with messages from the flowers. And I don't know if your audience is familiar with channeled work, but basically, I asked the flowers which ones wanted to be included in the book, and then I asked them, what message did they have that they want to be included
Hmm.
with. And then this one, it's just, there's the backs of them. That's a morning glory in the morning.
Oh, oh, beautiful.
They're always out in the morning. I guess that was no point in saying that was a morning glory from the morning. But um, anyway, you can use this deck pretty easily if you are so called to shuffle it, ask a question. It's not a yes or no type of deck. It's more of like, how do I get unstuck from this situation type of deck.
Sure.
And it works pretty easily, but you just ask a question. I don't know. Do you have a question about something you're stuck on?
Hmm.
Just
That's a
something that doesn't
that's a good
feel
question. Let's see. I guess let's say what if I were to come up with a question, I'm trying to think of something that's like relevant to what is transpiring in my life today. And I would have to say is, what advice could be given in regards to letting go and allowing abundance?
abundance. Okay. Letting go and allowing abundance. I know so many people have that question, right? All right. So
Hmm.
I'm going to hold the cards up and you tell me when you have one that you think I should pick.
I don't see the flowers, but I'm going
Well,
to
you can't
stop.
pick the
Okay,
flowers
okay, stop there
right
and
here.
that one. Yep.
Okay. Because then it would be too visual.
Oh, this is a good
Might
point.
pick the one with a
Okay.
pig or something. Oh, okay. This is a good message. Um, Allow grace in. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. This is a
Oh. Allow grace
No, I
in.
forgot the name of this flower. It'll come to me in a second. But allow grace in is grace is a super high vibration. And I don't know, I think a lot of us have forgotten what grace really is as a vibration because
Mm.
I think you've heard maybe back in the day, they might have said, say grace before you eat. But now we just say gratitudes before we eat, like, thank you for this food. We don't actually go into a state of grace. Grace is the next vibration up above gratitude.
Mm.
And it's a high, one of the highest states that we can actually be in this human bodies is a state of grace. And it really is something that makes, when you can go into a state of grace, it makes everything easier to transform.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
It does. It makes perfect sense.
So we're used to going into a state of gratitude, like, thank you for,
Yeah.
thank you for giving me $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually thank while in a state of grace can actually put you much higher into that vibration because the $1 million has to be graceful too, the energy of it. Because it's not about $1 million, it's about what you're
Okay.
going to do with it, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to be said for going into a state of grace. Even the original like reason we said grace before we ate was you put your body into such a high vibration and each
Hmm.
other into such a high vibration that it helps you absorb the food better, the nutrients out of the food, and it raises the vibration of the food itself.
Oh,
So
I
building
love
practice around
this.
grace could actually probably kick you up to the next level of receiving
Yes.
and letting go because you really can't hang on to stuff while you're in a state of grace.
Oh, I love this. So this is a totally different perspective than anything that I've done yet before, where it comes to, I do a lot of meditation and a lot of journaling and, releasing, but I've never stepped into that place of grace
Yeah, so many of us have not.
because I've never even heard of it put this way
Yeah,
before.
I know. I think we don't talk about it very often. You hear about it in songs related to church, and you hear about it in the olden days of before meals. But other than that, we forget about grace. And it's really just elevating yourself to that next level. So that may be where, anyway, that's the card. I'm going to take a picture of it and email it to you.
Yeah, you should. And the funny thing is that I just want to say that when you were shuffling through,
Mhm.
I had this visual in my mind of a pink flower that looked like that.
Oh, right. Well,
Like it was just in my mind. Like I was like, and then like there's part of me is like, hope I get the pink flower.
that's one of the interesting interesting principles of this shared information, this telepathy, is you can actually call it up or know ahead of time what's coming. It's really quite amazing.
That is amazing. Like I am just like mind blown right now. Like I'm just like, wow, that's powerful. That
Yeah.
is so powerful.
So,
And you do you find that we can energetically be drawn to like a specific type of flower based on where we are currently in our transformation?
um, I definitely think so. Um, So in the past, a lot of people had studied the essence and energy of flowers. They always kind of put them into categories.
Mm-hmm.
So like a rose had all these, high vibrations of love and energy and stuff like that. But I find it, you can do that. You can look up the flower essence and what it's supposed to mean, but each flower is so unique and special that I would say that if you're walking down the street and a flower catches your eye, that flower has some kind of energy or message for you. Sorry, there goes a cat.
That's okay. Mine some will appear in my doing the same stuff. So like I said, fur babies are always welcome.
All right, he's here. He's here. So, but yeah, I think that noticing. like even if you're in a store and there's a whole like a grocery store and they have a whole array of flowers, if one of
Mhm.
them kind of calls to you, it's probably a good bouquet to actually buy for the week and just say thank you for giving me this energy. I don't find store cut flowers quite as energetic as outdoor flowers, but you got to be, there's like levels and practicality. It's kind of like, you know,
Right.
an apple versus an organic apple versus a, you know, one grown from the Garden of Eden
Hmm.
organic apple, it's like there's layers. And I think all of nature is like that, I mean, we use that when we're shopping. It's like, oh, look at that shirt, I want to buy it. But really,
Hmm.
if you're talking to the flowers, you're going to get a message, even if it's just a vibration and you don't actually hear the real words. Does that
Right.
make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Now, what was I going to ask you? So essentially, so now like another thing you had mentioned before is your food, right? Having that energetic connection and with your food when you're preparing food. And I want to hear more about that too.
All right. So I like I said, I was a nutritional cook and I really knew a lot about eating food healthfully, and I just kept feeling like something was missing until I started studying it more spiritually and energetically. And I post recipes on my website every once in a while with information in there of what I've found, but I everybody loves my garlic page, so I put together this little recipe book called Garlic Lover Dressings. And
Ooh, I love garlic.
I good. It's a good thing to love.
I love
But
herbs and all things. So,
yeah, so herbs and garlic. Well, garlic's one of the most high vibrating herbs out there, if you want to call it a herb or spices or
yeah.
alliums. And it has a lot of spiritual aspects to it, and it's been used for millennia for spiritual growth. But it's also been used forever for healing. And my information on my website talks about it, using it as a probiotic and how there's two compounds in them. When you crush the garlic, the two compounds form um, something a lot like a penicillin.
Hmm.
And
Right.
yeah, and then this can actually be used as an antibiotic. And so I have instructions for that, but I've included those in this book. But I really, this was to inspire people to add more garlic into their diet. So I have like recipes for like the
Oh,
um,
that's a
apple
pretty
sage.
picture.
Oh,
Did you
thank
take the photo too?
I did.
It's
I
very
have
nice.
so much fun putting these together because I really have a great time with the pictures. But there's a sweet persimmon one, and it's just
Ooh,
ways to use, honestly, it's ways to use garlic and how to combine it with different things. Like a
sure.
lot of people don't think that you can actually combine it with pomegranates, for instance.
Really?
You want a
Ooh,
pink dressing, you can actually
very
use
pretty.
garlic and pomegranates together. And I do a lot of, um, I guess I don't do the typical oil and vinegar with a little bit of garlic in it type of dressings. These are all using fruits, sometimes vegetables, herbs and spices, cilantros, parsley, stuff like that they give the dressings, because of the garlic use and the different combinations, they give the dressings this really powerful, healthy component. And
Hmm.
they're all, because I'm not using a lot of vinegar, they're all very bioactive. So when you put them on the salads, or you can use them as dips even, they help break down the food, they help get it bioavailable, but they also
Hmm.
are like taking a probiotic, depending on, you know, the variation of how much garlic you take. So it's a great way to, they're so tasty, and it's a great way to add garlic to your raw garlic to your diet on a daily basis, which helps raise your spiritual awareness or openings, raise your
That's
conscious.
awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting. I mean, it's like it's like if you're serving a family and you want to serve 'em one of these really good dressings,
Hmm.
they don't know that you're actually like giving them a spiritual lift too. necessarily.
Sure.
They don't necessarily need to know that, but they but
Yeah.
you are.
How long have you been cooking this way?
Well, it was a long journey for me. I used to be quite ill, and I think in my 30s I thought, you know what, I'm kind of done with this world. I don't think I'm going to live, and not even to 40. And I started, I guess I was in the allopathic medical care, and I had a lot of chronic issues, and
Hmm.
I I stumbled on a story about allergies that made sense to me, and I started exploring it, and I realized I was indeed allergic to everything, and I was allergic to everything because I was um, my system was broken. I think it
Okay.
was broken spiritually and broken chemically.
Hmm.
I think that I had some trauma in my early childhood that was pretty profound. It wasn't mine, it was my mom's, but I picked it up. Um, And then I ate a lot of Captain Crunch and Velveeta cheese. Quite frankly, the combo destroyed me. So I had to
I can
learn,
relate.
I had to go from McDonald's to kale, and it was a big journey. Um, and then
Hmm.
I had to really learn like what, I learned dogmatically how to cook healthy, and then I had to go and explore a deeper understanding of it because there's not, once you get to the spiritual level, there's not a lot of information out there. And I've actually become very plant-based the last um, actually 5 years, 7 years.
Hmm.
And that again was a big electrical spiritual thing for me.
Hmm.
It really wasn't for other reasons, but my body was like, look, we're not vibrating at the same rate as this karmic heavy meat and fish and stuff. So we want you to just eat plants for a while. And I have no idea how long it's going to go on. But because I've explored cooking so much, I'm really having a great time. I mean,
Sure.
the food I make, people are like, you know, they'll line up to eat it.
Yeah. How would one start their journey if they wanted to learn about cooking energetically and, navigating things on this level?
Um, that's a good question. I have spent, gosh, almost 25 years learning now. And I think that you have to take it in baby steps, like
Hmm.
go out and pick up, do some research, pick up some books on it. I mean, I do some consulting if anybody wanted to contact me and get
Yeah.
get an hour's worth of time on how they could shift their diet. But I find that most people, if you take them too far too fast, they don't stick with it. So it has to be like your own decision and your own body calling you. And a lot
Hmm.
of it's listening to your own body as well
Hmm.
and moving past, the addictions to the speed with which what you eat. So
Hmm.
there's two ways to go about it, and you can combine them. But one way is to, like we talked about earlier, go into this state of grace before you eat and really raise the vibration of whatever you're eating. Because even
Hmm.
Captain Crunch could be healthier if you're in that state of grace. I'm not meaning to diss Captain Crunch, but come on. And the other way is to do it like I've done it or combine the two, and really learn.
Sure.
But right now on this earth, plants are vibrating at a higher rate than animals are, only because they're um, not carrying the karma
Hmm.
that animals are. And so you could just add more plants, in particular leafy greens and less refined foods. And the more you do that, just listen to your body and you'll
Hmm.
start to find that the more greens you add and the more um, plants you have and if you can't afford organic pasture raised meat then or eggs replace them with sweet potatoes. I mean it's a fabulous with pecans on top, it's a fabulous alternative and some kale on the side. And you can actually get, or beans and kale and rice, you can actually get all the amino acids you need from a lot of plant-based foods, no matter what they've said.
Oh, wow.
You got to be careful. I mean, some people are just not ready to make a leap all the way to plants. And
Hmm.
I do not recommend giving up your meat for highly refined foods,
Right.
fried foods either. So don't just be like, oh, I'm giving up meat and going on pasta and think that you're going to actually gain as much as you could.
Yes, I agree 100%. And so if people listening wanted to reach out to you and schedule a call with you, where can they find you?
The best way to get hold of me right now is just on my website, karinedgett.com, and I guess you'll post it.
I will.
But
I have your links.
all right, awesome. There's free recipes up there, and my cookbooks up there, and my cards are up there, and all my art's up there. So, but they can contact me, and I'll just do a consult with them. I have many people that I consult with, and if it's convenient, I can even consult in person.
Hmm. Oh, that's great. I will definitely be sharing those links in the description of the podcast so that people can get in touch with you. And I will actually be going to your website because I am curious to look at those recipes and all the things that you have on there because I'm very interested.
All right, awesome. Thanks. Thanks, Lori, and thanks for all you do again. That's really
Oh,
awesome. And
oh,
thanks
well,
for
thank you. Thank you for taking the time to be here today.
all right. And you have a great rest of your day.
You too. Thank you so much. We are out of time. And if anybody is, would like to connect with me, if there's any way I could be of support in your journey, please see the below in the description. My links will be there. You can reach me on my website, www.laurimurphycoaching.com. I will also put my social media links. But until next time, let go of fear and let your spirit shine.